Hello and welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia. This is episode 205. I'm your host Ryan Black, and I am joined by Joshua Taylor and Chris Warren, and we are back and we are playing with power. Guys, how you doing?
Doing well.
I'm doing just well.
So I have done my fair share of crying today. Happy tears. Let me tell you, we are bringing you a special episode because we could not contain our hype for this out of the blue Mario Direct that we just got. Oh my goodness, guys, it was amazing.
It was pretty good.
Like Nintendo fans have been like just so thirsty for news like this, and they just hit it out of the park. I mean, wow. Like, what if Nintendo does this like yearly? They just throw an IP out there, like full packed, like with everything like that. Oh my goodness, that I could get used to that. But
I know it's
wow.
been 35 years since the Mario first came out, but it
Yeah.
feels like 35 years since we had the last Direct. So it was nice to have something pretty substantial to look at since it's been literally a year, I believe.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was very refreshing and something that I think all of us need during this bizarre year.
Yeah, and at this point, like normally I'm not that huge of a Mario fan just because like yeah, it's what I know. It's like bread and butter. I take it for granted, but I don't know that this hit me on a whole other level, and I don't know if it was just the drought of information or what, but my goodness, just floored completely. And some of the stuff I kind of knew from rumors that it was coming, but just finally seeing it, just I broke down. That was just so awesome, to know that I'm going to get to play these games again and on my favorite system, Nintendo system. Like, what is happening?
It's
Ah,
also awesome to know that they have something lined up for this year
yeah,
because
yeah.
for a while it just seems like it's like okay, you can just deal with your Animal Crossing, your little Paper Mario, and also Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So enjoy that, and we'll talk to you again sometime next year. That's what it felt like. But yeah, they
Definitely.
do have a really cool plan for celebrating Mario's 35th anniversary. And as a huge Mario fan, I really appreciate these huge what am I saying? Um, what they're trying to do to celebrate him, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not great at like picking favorites for much of anything. I like different things for different reasons. But the Mario series has always been like in the top two or so for me. It always floats around like up in there if I had to give them a number. So it's definitely one of the most special. So if they're to focus on one franchise, this was definitely one I'm very cool with them dumping everything into. And unsurprisingly, and it's Mario, so it is pretty much their biggest franchise. But still, I was super happy to see that.
Also, I'm really surprised to that we saw what we did because it kind of felt like a fan trailer. It kind of
Yeah,
felt like someone took all these rumors that we've been hearing about for the past few months and just made a fan trailer. It's like I
Yes.
just can't believe that we will be able to play Super Mario Sunshine on the go and all the other things that they mentioned. It just feels like a
yeah.
dream come true. So
Yes.
it's really I have to pinch myself to be like, no, this is reality. We're actually going to get these really cool products. So I'm excited.
Definitely. Definitely excited. Like, you know, first thing out of the gate that we can actually get our hands on is, Super Mario All Stars for the SNES online on Switch. That's awesome to be able to play that again. I've got huge nostalgia for this game. And so like just taken back and reliving that and feeling those memories, like remember my grandparents and just like wow. I remember it made me think like I actually kind of want to do an episode on All Stars, even though it does cover like three games. Like I've got a ton of nostalgia for that, so we might even do that. But then like 2 weeks later, we've got a nice little 3D All Stars coming. It, 2 weeks. What is that? Like out of nowhere, Nintendo does that thing again. We're like, hey, guess what? Paper Mario's coming. Hey, guess what? Super Mario 3D All Stars is coming. What happened? Like this shadow dropping is just unheard of.
Yeah, for this game, I actually have more nostalgia for All Stars than I do the original Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, and all of that. I think it's just sort of a timing thing. I was born in '89, so Super Nintendo is kind of thing I grew up with. But I mean, I really do feel like it's like the refined version of all of them, and it's this simple little free thing we got, and we got it on the Wii even a while back. But I still love having it. I'm glad they bring it back. I think it's sort of a waste when they don't, you know, bring it out as often as they could. It's a neat little package.
I am also glad that they're adding it to the Nintendo Switch Online service as opposed to what they did with the Wii, where we had to purchase it for like $25, $35 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So while it did come with what I hear, like a nice manual and
it did.
you know, like a
Sorry.
retrospective, no, that's okay, like some kind of retrospective book or something. I didn't get it. I just have the disc. I got it like
Yeah,
pre-owned.
it came with a soundtrack. Like it didn't have a whole lot on it. It wasn't like orchestrated
Yeah.
music or anything like that one Zelda one. It was just kind of was what it was. So it was a neat little package for like $30. But yeah, I'm cool with it this way.
Yeah. Because like the game on the Wii itself was basically, or actually literally, the Super Nintendo game just on a disc. So I found it at the time when I got the disc to be a little jarring that
Mhm.
they were still showing us these Super Nintendo controls, and I was using a Wii remote or whatever controller I was using, and those didn't translate exactly well. So yeah, it is a much more appropriate method for them to add it to the Nintendo Switch Online service, because it's like, hey, it's free, enjoy it, and it's a great
Did
game.
want to
So
mention, I was playing it actually a little bit before we started, and a little shout out to Tony Lopez, who's a fan of the show there, because me and him got to play a couple rounds of or a couple worlds of Super Mario Brothers. Um, and he knows his stuff. So yeah, and he kicked my butt in Smash Brothers afterwards. It's unrelated, but I just wanted a little shout out to him real quick.
I am looking forward to playing it a little bit more. I haven't really played the Wii version that much, so I am excited to jump in and play these games because they are classics. Some of them hold up a little bit better than others, but it's really cool that at the time they converted all of those classic games into 16-bit versions. And
Mhm.
some people might like the 8-bit version better. I think the 16-bit version is just fine and very
Yeah.
respectfully done to those games. So yeah, it's very cool to have that at our disposal.
It's kind of the HD remake of the time, and
Right.
not only just an HD remake, but also like a collection of games too. That's so cool.
Yeah.
We got a similar treatment when not just Mario, but like Metroid Prime Trilogy. We got all three of them on a disc, and it was a limited run as well. So it's not unprecedented that
Oof.
this collection coming up for 3D World is going to be limited.
That's actually a really good point. I forgot about that.
That
So
Metroid Prime trilogy case though, if you've got it, is like that tin
yes,
case, and it has
yes,
the
Yeah.
it is.
story like in a little book in it, like the whole Prime stories. It's pretty sweet.
It's
I forgot
beautiful.
about
I
that.
love it.
Yeah. The 3D All Stars game looks awesome. I
Yes.
have that pre-ordered, so I'm insanely excited about that. I do have some criticisms about it, but what do you guys
Right.
think about it?
Well, judging by your post in a Nintendo Nostalgia chat about how your Mario is Super Mario Galaxy 2, I can understand. You feel a
Mhm.
little bit snubbed. But keep this in mind. So Mario All Stars did have an edition that came out later that had Super Mario World in it.
Really?
So yes, you can actually get All Stars with Super Mario World. So it could be you can get All Stars someday with Galaxy 2 in the package.
That is what I'm hoping for, but at the same time, I don't want to have an expectation that just won't be realized.
Hmm.
Um, I love all three of the games that are included in this collection. All three of them are excellent for very different reasons, and I do understand that this is an anniversary gift to us as fans.
Hmm.
At the
Yeah.
same time, though, I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed because a bar has been set by Activision with collections such as the Crash Insane trilogy and Spyro Reignited trilogy, where they did bring back these three great games from their respective franchises, but they were ground up remasterings of those games, and they went all out for them. And I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed that Nintendo didn't give these games, these 3 games that are considered some of the best games ever made, the same exact treatment, because I feel as though they deserve that. But again, this is an anniversary gift to us as fans, but also they left out the game that what I would argue is the best 3D Mario game ever, Mario Galaxy 2. So hopefully we do get that in some way.
I actually do own Mario Galaxy 2 and haven't played it. I have it sitting on my Wii digitally, and I never did get around to playing it.
Wow,
It's
it's
phenomenal.
a good one. It really is in a lot of ways. I don't want to sit on it too long, but it really is. I kind of liked it better than 1. I think the only thing I didn't like as well is the overworld and the way it was kind of like a world map, but it
Mhm.
wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, I love Yoshi anyway, but I just feel like the levels were a little more refined and took some of what Galaxy 1 did and just did it a little bit better.
Yeah,
Power-ups
but
kind of turned me off first. I think that was a part of it.
what turned you off?
Oh
The
yeah.
power-ups. I don't know. They just kind of seemed
Mm,
weird to me.
yeah, that's fair. They were kind of weird, but they were charming in a way, in that weird
Yeah.
Nintendo's way. Um, but I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
My concern with the 3D collection, we have access to be able to play the game, play Super Mario Sunshine, with a GameCube controller. I'm guessing that's an option because that's you can do a lot of games with a game controller, so you can actually replicate that feeling. And then also the Joy Cons are pretty similar to the Wiimote in some ways. But there isn't really an N64 controller that you can play Super Mario 64 with, and so I'm wondering, like, are we gonna get that? Are we gonna get that opportunity to play Super Mario 64 with the N64 controller? Like, I can play my Super Mario All Stars with my SNES controller for Switch. I'm kind of hoping that they do something about that. Maybe when they announce later this month for the Switch Online, sweetening the deal, they might do the N64 and have the N64 controllers and whatnot, and I can go in on that. But
Would that not feel weird at this point, you think? Like if they did the N64 online thing like they have SNES and NES, if they put Mario 64 on there, though, at the same time they're trying to sell it, do you think that affects that at all? Or maybe that's the limit they put on it for, when the game's supposed to not be on sale past March. Do you think maybe that might even have an effect on that one way or another?
I do think that they're going to port Mario 64 to the online N64 experience. It may not be there at launch, which some people say actually it does. There's 2 ways you can look at it. Some people say they should have included Super Mario 64 on the N64 online, or whatever it will be called. But at the same time, like, you have it available for this limited time, and they could release it after that on for free, basically, individually. Now, how are you going to get a hold of Galaxy and Super Mario Sunshine? Who knows? Maybe you have to wait for the GameCube and the Wii online, if that's even a thing. It's crazy to think that that's even an option, but um, you never know. I'm really excited that they're doing this, and it just seems to be the 3 games. Now, we don't know. It could be, it's not unheard of to unlock games in collections. So maybe you can unlock something as big as Super Mario Galaxy 2. That would be mind blowing, but we'll probably know about it after data miners get done with it. you
Yeah, and,
know.
and I agree with a lot with Chris on it. Like, I played through the Crash and Spyro trilogies, and yeah, they're beautifully remastered and all of that sort of thing. So I was a little bit disappointed. I mean, however, though, I guess with those, they were all on the same system. 1, 2, and 3
Mhm.
for both of those franchises, all sort of the same style, game engine, and things like that. All of these Mario's are in their own engines and that sort of thing as it is. And really, I don't think, at least from what I could tell from the trailer, I don't think they look too bad, just with that simple HDness, added
Mhm.
to them. I do wish 64 at least had widescreen or something going on there. I think, and I don't want to say more negative than I do positive about it, because honestly, like all 3 games are great, and they all have a lot of meat to them. So I think it's a good value regardless. They're all quality games. Um, and the music player was cool. I thought that was nice. I mean, I can kind of
Mhm.
pull up any of those on YouTube or something, but still, I'd like having it there. It's a nice little thing. I don't see why not to add that.
No ads.
Yeah, and I kind of wish what I was gonna say is like one more little thing would have been nice. Like, and again, I feel like I'm nitpicking, but like playing collections like the Mega Man collection, I wish there was like some artwork or
Hmm.
concept art or just something like that.
Fair.
Just a
Sure.
little something else, kind of like that music player would have been cool.
There might be, but we don't have it yet. We don't really know. You might not even want to expect it just to not
Right.
feel let down. But something that I was wondering, actually, while I was on my way over here to record, is I remember during the Wii U years that they said during like a developer interview that it only took them about 3 months to make Zelda Wind Waker as beautiful as it was.
Hmm.
It looked like a huge step up at the time. And so if that one game only took them 3 months to port over to the Wii U with all those extra bells and whistles, I can't help but wonder why they didn't consider to do that with this collection. Again, not a big deal. I love these games. They are timeless
Yeah.
classics. I just feel like, they deserve a little bit extra. But I really hope that they add Super Mario Run into the collection. No, I'm kidding. It is a good game though, but
The
it
Mario is
is.
missing collection.
Yeah. I also
Hotel Mario.
it's interesting that a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can't believe we're gonna pay $60 for ports of old games," but um, when it came to Pikmin. But with this game, all of us are like pre-ordered. Like that's fine.
Oh,
Yep.
Get
Yep.
you slap Mario on it, and I'm a sucker. And
it.
actually, I will say for this one, I noticed. I don't know if anyone mentioned this, but the eShop price was actually $50.
Oh,
Where
Oh,
the box version was 60. At least that's what I'm pretty sure I saw earlier. Was it's actually
interesting.
49.99 on the eShop
I
if you
didn't
get it
know that.
digitally. I want the box. I don't do that with a lot of things, but for
Yeah,
this, these are pretty special,
it's
and I got the
understandable.
box for this one.
The fact that it's limited time, like, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely want to hop on that. Um, Before we get any further into the episode and get into the topics that we'd like to get into, I've got a couple voicemails to play. So let me cue those up.
Hey guys, I could not be on. Ironically, I was the one who actually suggested we do this impromptu episode, but I wanted to call and leave a voicemail because I know Josh and Chris are going to whine about some little nitpicky things. And I just want to say, I think overall what Nintendo offered today, I mean, be grateful. It's really, really cool. Yes, could they have done more? Sure. Could they have given us Mario Galaxy 2? Who cares? I mean, I don't care to ride on Yoshi. My old Galaxy 1 was just fine. It's 2 is just leftovers of Galaxy 1. I mean, that's essentially why Ryan never even played it. And I mean, do I want Mario 64 to be remade? Absolutely. Could they have made it widescreen? Sure. Do I wish they did? Of course. The better, the better. But at the end of the day, I am super happy that this trilogy is here, this collection, of my personal favorite Mario game of all time, Mario 64, and it looks the best it's ever looked in its own original form. And then watching comparisons on YouTube of just like the graphics from the old games to this, it's really, really eye-popping to see Sunshine look so clear. I was really impressed with that, and I'm not as impressed with Galaxy because I think we all can agree Galaxy was a pretty good-looking game for the Wii. So it didn't have much of a bump up. It looks great, looks better, but to me the biggest jump is Sunshine, and Sunshine being available for the first time ever since the GameCube. It's never been on any other system. Can you believe that? That's wild. I don't really care too much about, like, all the other stuff is great and it's good for Mario and to celebrate it. The Game & Watch thing was another thing that stood out to me. However, I'm not necessarily going to cry if I don't get it. If I can get my hands on one, cool. That'd be a cool little thing to have. But I'm not going to throw a fit if scalpers get them all and I can't find one. So I would for the 3D collection. That's what I care about most. Cool that All Stars is the original is now on the eShop. I want to go play and visit that for fun. And let me think here. Oh, the Mario Kart. I really don't get it. I think there's too many flaws with it. Like, I have a little place. How can I get this game and it work? I don't feel like it would. I feel like you have to have a certain type of setup for it to work properly. And so I just feel like there's limitations with it. Could be wrong. Could be a blast. I'm not upset about the price tag. I think $100 is fine. That's actually pretty cool for those carts. And the game itself, I'm not against that. I don't think that's too pricey. I just don't think the concept's going to work very well for everybody. My old house that I had built with my ex-wife, it actually would have worked. We had a great big open living room that you could just, it was hardwood floor. It would have worked great, but I don't have that anymore, so it's not going to work very well, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But besides that, overall, yeah, I thought it was really cool. I love to see what they did. And, you know, the real question is that you guys can maybe talk about is, this is fun to speculate on, is none of these games, Mario 3D World, I forgot to talk about that. That looks cool. Played it, loved it. Curious more about the Bowser part. I'll probably get it next year. Besides that, what's our holiday games? We don't really know. My prediction is we're going to get a 2D Metroid and Skyward Sword HD, and that's it. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more. Who knows? But we don't know any holidays because 3D Collection drops here in a few weeks, and 3D World doesn't come out until February. So the Game Watch thing is in November, but that's not a huge thing. So, all right. Talk to you guys later. Sorry I couldn't be on. Thanks for covering it. And don't cry too much, Josh and Chris. Bye.
All right.
Morning already?
I need more tissues from all my crying. No, so if I could just address Mario Galaxy 2. So Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy are very iconic games, and all three of them are insanely excellent. Mario Galaxy 2 is not as iconic per se, but it took everything that was excellent about Mario Galaxy. Very few people had any criticisms for that game, and they just went all out with those concepts, and they even incorporated new, wild, experimental ideas. And in my opinion, it's, for that reason, the best 3D Mario game, because it just did everything that was so right about previous ones and even tried new ideas in addition to that. So all I ask is that Nintendo give fans a chance to play this excellent game, because it did not sell as well as it could have, and I think that a lot more people would appreciate it if they were able to get their hands on it. Yeah.
Jacob had some good points. First, I wanted to talk about the Game & Watch item. It's pretty much, I don't know, I got kind of a Game Boy Micro vibe from this whole thing, in a way. You know, it's just something small. You do a couple things with it. Cool. I mean, it's very limited, but it's also like really snazzy looking.
Yeah.
Nintendo does a good job with their products like that. It looks great. It's a great collector's item. I would love to get it if I could. I like that, you know, they included lost levels. That makes it a little bit more enticing. I'm sure like we have to add something else in here to make it worth it. Picking up, and just like, you know, Mario Brothers and a clock. So, you know, not a lot of people have access to the lost levels, or didn't growing up. So that's really cool that they have that. It's interesting also that they releasing this thing, and then they have the All-Star Collection on the Switch Online as well. But at the same time, like, even more portable, just slipping this in your pocket and going and playing Mario anywhere, even more so than the Switch. I think it had like 8 hours of battery life, and it only took about 3 hours to charge. So I'm not complaining about that.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a collector's thing, I think. I want one myself, to be honest, and I don't get everything that comes out, I guess, that's that sort of thing, but I really like the way it looks. Like you said, it's pretty nice looking, and the nice colored screen and all that on it. It's only got like the kind of 2.5 games, if you want to call it that, but it is, I think it's $50, and I think that's fair enough for that. We'll see. Honestly, when I first saw it, and especially when it said limited release, I was like, well, that's an eBay exclusive. We'll see if that's even obtainable. Granted, I was the the 3D collection said the same, and I was able to pre-order it earlier today through Best Buy, but we'll see with this.
Ryan, I wanted to go back to your point about hopefully, like you said, that hopefully there's more than just those 2 games in the clock to make it worth it. Something that I remember from the trailer is that they said that there's like 35 little touches that they added into it. So I'm curious to see what form that takes. I'm sure they'll all be like little Easter eggs and stuff, nothing too crazy, but I do want one mostly to see what they will do with that, you know?
I kind of got a WarioWare Touched vibe. In WarioWare Touch, you could unlock all kinds of like random bells and whistles, and some things they didn't quite work very well. But like just the random things that you could find, like and discover in the game, I kind of got that vibe from it, and so it's kind of cool that they're doing that in this little handheld. It's it'll be fun to discover all those Easter eggs. I'm very much taken back to the time I discovered if you hold down a button when you start up the GameCube, it plays a different sound. Like it's so cool,
yeah.
So like that's what I'm transported to when I think about that, and it's just like something I really want to get a hold of, if I can, because it's charming.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Nintendo does better than anyone else is add these little Easter eggs into almost every single product that they make, and that's part of the fun in getting anything that has the Nintendo brand. Like you said, the GameCube startup. How many people like are going to notice that if you think about all the different people that own a GameCube? Very few, just as hardcore fans. But yeah, I just want to see what these little 35 touches are like. $50 is a little steep, but it does look really cool. Like you guys said, it's a very iconic machine, one of Nintendo's first. And, it's not like I don't want to play Super Mario Brothers, so I'm thinking about it.
For the battery and the screen quality, I'd say it's definitely worth that 50, let alone what comes inside of it. So I feel like it's a reasonable amount. It's less than a video game, like a current gen video game, I think it's very accessible for that. Again, I feel like it's going to be a Game Boy Micro thing where not a lot of people are going to pick it up, but also in this day and era with scalpers, probably a lot of people are going to pick it up, but not the right people. So hopefully those who want it can get it still.
Well, guys, if you think you're going to get one, do you think that you're realistically going to play it? And if you are going to play, are you going to play it that often? Because I don't know how I feel about it. Like how often I would play
value
it.
is a question.
That's what I'm worried about with myself, at least. Because I mean, I've played Super Mario Brothers is still a great little game, but I've played it on 100 different things, and I can play it on my big HD TV and on my Switch and things like that. Now I'm like I'd probably play through it on there a time or two, but in Lost Levels, I've actually never beat that. I always end up getting too frustrated. And I'd play the ball thing here and there, but I just don't. I feel like it would be it's a fun novelty item, and I just don't see me like I'm not gonna stick it in my pocket because I don't want to scratch the thing to pieces or anything like that. So I don't know. That's what I'm a little bit concerned about because there's not a whole lot. There's not. Maybe if there's a few more games or something like that, that would help. And I don't know about the clock, like if I would actually use that or not. I would play with it for a little bit, to see the Easter eggs and things like that. But I'm trying to almost justify if I get the chance to buy one, hey, I might use this clock, or if it's just going to be pointless when I've got a cell phone everywhere with me anyway. Don't know.
I think the overall package keeps that spirit of Game & Watch as well. Like the Game & Watch collection they had for Game Boy Color, I think it was, or
oh yeah, those are cool.
And DS as well.
So that's kind of like where it takes me. I had a DS, the DS. Was it my Club Nintendo reward or something you could get? You could get a hold of that Game & Watch. I don't think I ever played it. I've had it, and I just never did anything with it. But
I didn't think of that. That would have been a good time to actually do you remember the Game & Watch Gallery games on like the Game Boy Color and those? Yep. I feel like those would have been actually maybe a good way to kind of blend those into here. I don't know. Like that's the modernized versions, it had like the Ball is I think one of them. Like it had where Chef's one that sticks out. There was their original Chef of Game & Watch, and then there was one that had Peach and like Yoshi following her around. I think that would have been kind of neat to stick in something like this, but it's fine.
Or
this
maybe
open
just
the door. Boy
at
Advance.
all of them, really. Like there's not too many of them. It's not like they're going to be making money off of them in the future. Just put all of them on there. I don't know.
Keep in mind though, this is a couple. Okay, you get a couple games on it, right? And it's like kind of like a Game Boy Advance size. It's only $50. Think about what they could do future with this thing. Like Tiger Electronics, but on Nintendo scale. So you get the original Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2 on a Game & Watch style handheld, and the next one is Metroid.
Yeah, that's cool.
Metroid 2, the original Metroid 2. Like the potential there of selling something like this, it's got me kind of curious to see if they're gonna actually pull that trigger, if it's just one and done.
Would you guys
design, but different.
Would you guys get more than one though? Because for me, having that is like one for me is enough, because it's the novelty of having it and playing with it a little bit, but having another one kind of like defeats the purpose of having it as some kind of novelty item. And I don't know about you guys, I don't think I'm gonna play ball that much. I think that's what it's called.
It's an arcade game basically.
Yeah, like it's cool that it's there. I'm glad that it's there.
Yeah.
But if they do end up doing what you're talking about, Ryan, I would love that, because I just think that like you said, the potential is so great. So I would not be opposed to it. Just I personally would probably just stick with one of them. And this is one that I would want too. Like we used to have that, my family. We used to have the that whatever. Like the style that it is, we used to have one like that, and I don't know, someone sold it apparently, so it would be nice to have that back.
That is cool, and it would be neat if they like included, another Game & Watch game along with Zelda, like they did this, and that way there's actually a Zelda Game & Watch game. But I feel like that would get stupid expensive after a while. Especially think if you just get Mario and Zelda, you spent $100 on just a few old games.
Yeah.
And the novelty's there, but do you really need two of them? I kind of got to thinking about with Sega. That I don't know if you all saw the mini Game Gears that are supposed to come out. I don't know when. I kind of want one of those, but it's kind of another one of those situations where it's like the Game Gear didn't have the best games, to be honest. I mean, there are some good ones, and those are similar to maybe what you're talking about. Like they actually have different choices with different games on each color system.
Is this Nintendo copying Sega?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so except they're doing what they should be doing, because
it's weirdly similar, actually.
The only exception is that with this Game & Watch, it seems like it'll be playable and will fit in our hands, whereas with this mini thing that will be coming out, the Sega one, you can't play that. Like it's comically tiny. I have very tiny hands. I can't play it.
The Game Gear was gigantic, like back in the day. It was huge, this big beefy thing. It took all those AA batteries and all of that. And now it's like when they re-release it, it's just a little bitty tiny thing that I'm pretty sure is smaller than the Game Boy Micro.
Yeah, so it's one extreme to the other. It's like just do the thing in the middle. Make it playable.
Like the resurgence of Tiger Electronics.
I did get the Sonic 3 one of those, the little Tiger Electronics. Those are only $15 though.
Yeah,
so
that's I had that forever. I think it was Star Trek Next Generation. Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway.
Well,
sorry,
I derailed us. With the Game & Watch thing, like I will probably get it and I will love it. But I kind of would compare it to Amiibo, where I'm getting it just because it's just a cool collector's item, and I'm not really going to take full advantage of how they kind of anticipated it would be used. I'm probably not going to play the game that much, but I will have it displayed for the rest of my life because I just think it looks that cool. But I do kind of see similarities to Amiibo in that way.
When I've thought of, I've still got the Game & Watch ball from the Club Nintendo from a few years back.
Lucky.
And I'm like, I don't really go back and play that, but it is a pretty cool collectible. I don't have any nice place to put it right now, but it's there. So it's like, do I need this next to it? I don't know. I don't know if that makes me want it more or less the more I think about it.
It's all. Do you guys remember with the Wii that they had like this Club Nintendo giveaway for if you had like a certain amount of coins or points, you could get grill off like that, that spring arm thing. Like
I do remember that
little mini game with that. I can't imagine too many people are still playing that.
Wii remote
Oh, I thought
holder.
you were showing the
Yes.
actual game or like some kind of thing that you use to commemorate the game. I was like, no, Ryan. That's awesome though. I have a fan from them. It's like a traditional Japanese fan, but with
Oh,
like
yeah.
Mario.
Yeah, I picked up those
I,
Hanafuda cards as well.
Me
Uh,
too. Yeah, those are
I
great.
they
was
need to bring it back.
I'm so like sad that I missed out on getting the gold nunchuck. That's kind of my grail item there for Nintendo. Like I have golds, the gold Wiimote. I've got the gold Pro controller for that. I guess a classic with grip. I can't remember what they called it. Anyway,
Oh,
but yeah,
classic
it was Wii,
with-
so it was the Pro controller. But yeah, I had the gold one from that. It came from like the GoldenEye, I want to say.
Yeah.
It was that remake of
Yeah,
GoldenEye.
yeah.
But I never did get that nunchuck, and I'd love to have it someday. That's like definitely one that I'm hoping to get my hands on. But it's that kind of feeling. I love when Nintendo does collectibles right, and they're actually using their My Nintendo like they did their Club Nintendo, where you can do these games and these tasks, and if you complete all these tasks, you get this pin set sent to you. Yes, more of that, please. More free
Please.
stuff because you did things because you're a fan of Nintendo.
Right.
Please, you're
Exactly.
doing it
It's
right,
amazing.
Nintendo. You are doing it right.
Finally.
As long as they don't run out in like 5 minutes when they're finally
Right. Well,
available.
And
the
they're
catch
sold.
is you have to complete everything, but you can't get everything until that game comes out.
Yep.
So you got that time. I think is it 3D World that we're waiting on before that actually becomes a thing, or was it?
I think it's just the 3D collection and a couple
3D
of
collection,
things.
okay.
And the Mario Kart event isn't live yet. I think that's the 8th or 9th or something. Well, if you look, it says it's all the way to the 31st is when you can like sign up for the pins. I'm like, there's no way there's going to be pins left
Yeah.
by the end of September. I don't
Most
know.
people
We'll
forget.
see where that goes.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that all works out anyway. But and it might be a little harder for scalpers. I mean, bots can't really farm that very easily.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a
At
little bit
least-
different.
So
Sure.
that's cool. So that keeps it a little bit out of scalpers' hands. Maybe Nintendo could work with that a little bit more, and that may be a test to see. Maybe that's some way they do promotions or something in the future.
Exactly.
But you did bring up Mario Kart, so let's touch on Mario Kart. First of all, let's talk about the Mario Kart Tour event. You can do that to get your pins. Part of that. I'm having trouble getting into my Mario Kart. I re-downloaded it and tried to sign up, and I just get this error over and over again. I'm supposed to contact Nintendo to get it fixed. Hopefully, I can get it because I don't want to miss out on these pins.
I mean, it's probably just a server issue, so I would say wait a day or two, because you do have time. But
Okay.
yeah, I feel you.
And then, Mario Kart. We have a new Mario Kart coming. It is the marriage of the 3DS augmented reality, Labo, and Mario Kart. Awesome.
Toys.
I'm cool with that.
Yes, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
It's a very interesting opening because I was like, wait. Oh, okay, that's fine.
it makes sense. I feel like we had an episode where we talked about like AR or something on Mario Kart. Like I feel like that was something that was said on Nintendo Nostalgia at some point. But it's so cool to the idea of it. And Jacob, to answer or to kind of speak to your not getting it, having a small apartment. This is anywhere from what I can understand. So you could take it out to the park and play around in the park with this. Have Mario drive around on the sidewalks in the park and places like that. It's not just confined to your home necessarily, though you probably have some limitations with sunlight and things like that. I think you can still enjoy this in other places, not just your own house. So, set up your Mario Kart track on the playground while your kids play is really cool. And think outside the box of your home and kind of think like, where else can I play this? Don't recommend playing in a bathroom or anything, but
I think this is a really cool concept, and I really
Any
like the
place.
idea. I would have loved it as a kid. I got the little Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing stuff back then, but and I even understand why, but the price is just pretty much told me off the get-go, I can't get that. It's
technology.
100. Yeah, I get what's in there, so I can't say it's like completely unfair for what's in the package
Mhm.
with the camera and everything else. But it's super cool. But by the time you would get, especially 2 carts, like I'd love to play this with my daughter, and we don't have a great house either and things like that. But by the time you get 2, you're spending $200 on this thing,
Hmm.
and it's fun. And I like we got 2 of the Lego sets, and we
Yeah.
played around with that, but it's been kind of put up for like a week and a half now. I feel like it's just kind of sitting there and whatever. And I just feel like it would not get used for that amount of money that you have to dump into it. Maybe just for the right people, or for people that have a lot of just money they can have fun with. I don't know. Maybe for the right people, it's cool that it exists. I just don't think, unfortunately, it's all that realistic for many people.
Hmm.
Yeah, like you guys are saying, I think the concept is genius. This is another example of Nintendo doing something completely wild, completely out of left field
Yeah.
that nobody saw coming, and yet all of us, I think, at the same time, were like, that makes sense. That is awesome. That is totally fresh and new, and kids are gonna love it, and adults appreciate what it is. So, and it also breathes new life into a franchise that's been around for a few decades now. And I love Mario Kart 8. I think it's like the best Mario Kart, but it's like, where does Mario Kart go from here? And I think this is a really interesting take on that.
Let me pose a question to you guys. Would you drop $100 on a really nice Mario Kart statue, a Figma or something?
No,
Like, would you drop $100 on a really well done big statue, as big
no.
as that Mario is?
Yeah,
So you're getting a camera with it and the game and everything, but you also get something you can display on a shelf as well, and it's
that's a
really
good
nice
point.
looking.
It's
So
true. I guess it depends on how much someone wants a Mario Kart statuette looking thing.
because
Um,
like I bought Starlink because I wanted the R-wing,
Same. Yep. Best $10 I ever
Yeah,
spent.
that's a good game too. Anyway, sorry, I was just gonna say with like the Mario Kart thing. Anyway, personally, again, I think it just depends on the person. Like, there's a side of me that I could see spending, like Ron said, $100 on something like that. I don't think my wife would be too happy with me if I did that. So that's just kind of the way things are.
I think
So
it's a
it
great
it is what it
toy.
is.
Yeah. I think it's a great toy for a quarantine because we're
Mhm,
all kind of going crazy in the house,
mhm.
and I can't even imagine what it's like to have kids that are just looking for something to do, and you're inside and sometimes outside. So I think this will change things up a lot, and it'll be a good way for families to bond. But also, I think it'll be a great Christmas present because maybe there are just some kids and parents that kind of have everything they need. Maybe they already have an iPad or whatever else some kids or family members might want. So this is a good,
Yeah,
totally new kooky thing for them to put on their Christmas list, and might even make Christmas a really fun and unique experience. So I think that'll be a big
sure.
factor in how well it'll sell.
I like the kid factor here. It uses your imagination to create your track. Like I like how they had cups and stuff lining along the track, and like you can say, kids, go make a track for this, and we'll set it up, and you can play once you've built your track and how you want it to be. And like they can draw pictures and draw trees and stuff. They could even like make it all Wreck-It Ralph looking or something. Like they could just make it whatever they want with their creativity, and it just using AR in that way is just so charming. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's genius, honestly. And I'm really, really excited to see what people are going to do with it, to see how wild their designs will be,
Mhm.
and to see,
Yeah,
it'll probably be a huge streaming hit. I think that'll be a huge factor in its success as well, because I'm not a big, streaming watcher, but I would love to watch people uh, see people's interesting course designs and see what they do with it, and maybe
oh man.
incorporate some real life elements into their tracks,
It makes real life
maybe
your
a
course
pet.
creator.
Yeah,
Everybody's been wanting like a course creator in Mario Kart, but here you go. I mean, make it.
yeah,
Now I really wish I had that. That would be kind of cool to stream with for the people, that can just really get creative with just crap around the house even. Could be a whole
exactly.
lot of fun,
Yep. It brings out a whole new area of creativity. It's
Yeah.
not just how good are you at Mario Maker 2 or anything that's similar. This is what can you do in your physical space to make this
That is cool.
video game that's virtual more interesting.
Mhm.
So it'll be really interesting to see how people utilize that.
Yeah, and I'm curious if they're gonna have any kind of camera interactivity with the 3DS AR cards that they had. That would be kind of cool. I did end up springing for that giant one, so I've got that somewhere here.
No way, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm jealous. That's so cool. Ah, I should have got that. Man, that's so cool. Great. But I do wonder what the future of this is going to be. Let's say
Yeah.
it sells pretty well or insanely well. Something that would make them be like, hey, this is a huge hit. How are they going to expand that? That's something I'm really curious about. I'm sure, they'll add more characters,
Yoshi,
maybe like new
Peach.
power-ups or something. But it'll be really interesting to see if this is just the beginning of something really new and special for them. And maybe
Yeah.
Nintendo will branch out with other franchises as well. Maybe you'll be able to do something like this with Zelda or Kirby or something. So I really do hope that this is a huge hit for them.
Can you imagine a competitive scene? Like, it's so weird to think, like, Nintendo sets up their custom track, you come here and you play it with your Mario Kart, like, and you're set up in your AR. That's so, like, bizarre, but cool.
Yeah.
If that actually was, like, something that was realized, that's...
Yeah, I'm also interested to see how adults like us accept it. I don't know if I will get it or not. It seems like such a cool idea. I don't know how much I would end up playing with it. How long I would end up playing with it. But we're adults. We like to collect Nintendo things, so I'm curious to see if it's fun enough for some of the older fans.
Get out your iPhone for your timer, do time trials.
Hey, that's not a bad
Yes.
idea, actually.
There's just so much you can do to augment with real reality in a game that breaks down the barriers of the video game coding and stuff and becomes your world.
Yeah, it'll be a good
Outstanding,
way
Nintendo.
to get augmented reality into the masses a little bit more, because it is a really new and exciting technology and hasn't caught on too much just yet. But I think this could be one of the ways that everyone just understands what it is and understands the potential that it has. So who would have thought that Nintendo would be a pioneer with augmented reality? But that could be the case.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead and move on. I do want to touch on, so we touched on the Mario Kart thing. Let's talk a little about the Splatoon thing that's coming up. There's a Splatoon event that they're tying in with this. T-shirts. You can get Splatfest T-shirts, real Splatfest T-shirts to vote on your team. Team Mushroom, Team Star, whatever you want. That's so cool.
I was gonna say we never, or at least I never had missed a new Splatfest to the first Splatoon or the second Splatoon. We didn't do the repeat ones. So I definitely want to be a part of this one. Now I did, like you were saying, the T-shirts. I actually had plans as soon as I saw it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna actually go and get this thing. Like I want the star one, the black star, and that looks pretty cool. But they are $30 and then $5 shipping. So I was like, maybe not.
So cool that they're having that event, for Splatoon. And I like they're keeping it fresh. Like we played in the chicken and egg one recently, and was that what a repeat? Had they
Yes.
done
Yeah,
chicken
it
and egg
was.
before? Okay.
So I'm interested in why they're doing this. I mean, it's obvious why they're doing it, but they did say that they're not doing any more new Splatfests
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
I'm misremembering. So
That
it's
was
interesting.
last July, I think.
Yeah. So
They're
I mean,
digging it
I'm
back up.
fine. I'm fine with it. It's just like, you did say there wasn't going to be a new one, so it'll be hard to think that there won't be another one after this. Although I
Kind of
don't
sad they
think that
couldn't
there will be.
incorporate anything with arms, but I know.
But yeah, the shirts look awesome. I think I'm going to be Team
Yeah.
Star, and I really love how these shirts
Yeah.
look. I especially love, there's just something about this aesthetic of mixing Mario with Splatoon, my two favorite franchises. It shouldn't work, but it does, and I love it, and I might have to get one of these shirts. They look so
I always
cool.
think of Sunshine when I think
Yep.
of Splatoon, and so cool. Glad
Exactly.
that nod's
Splatoon
there.
originally had Mario characters in it. If you look back at the prototypes and stuff, so it's
Yeah.
almost like it's gone full circle.
Definitely.
It is a very clever marketing tactic, though. It's like not too expensive. Everyone loves Splatoon and
Yeah.
Splatfest, so why not?
So Nintendo is taking an interesting approach to another game that they're doing. It's similar to their Tetris 99. But it's an online Nintendo Online exclusive 35-man Mario battle. There was a 2-player Mario game, I believe, where you could do some kind of competitive thing. But this is like 35 players basically doing things to cause enemies to pop up on your opponents on their screen, and they have to deal with a bunch of enemies flying at them while they're trying to speed run, Mario levels. And it's only available until the 35th celebration is over, and then it's gone. This kind of reminds me of the free game they gave out on DSi for, I think it was Four Swords some variation. I don't even know if it was actually Four Swords or if it was actually just its own thing. Like I don't know.
It's Four Swords. I think it's a little upgraded. I've got it downloaded.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that, but it's even more temporary than that. And so I wonder if we'll see it someday in some legacy collection of Marios or something, and maybe experience that again. But again, 35 players. It's a server-based game, so I can see like why keep it around for that long if it's just gonna be the 35 is the theme. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what they do with that. Who knows? Maybe the 40th they'll do a 41. Mario 40 or what have you. Still a really cool idea. I know Traven was a bit bummed that it was temporary. Didn't quite understand why Nintendo was making that move. But we don't know what Nintendo's going to do with this stuff once it's done. If they're just going to kind of toss it out as temporary and it's done, or what. So
maybe it'll be in like a future NES remix compilation, because we still haven't gotten that yet, and that was on the Wii U. So.
Oh yeah. Let's hope it runs better than Mario Maker 2's online.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that didn't run too well.
It didn't at first, at least. It was awful. I think they fixed it since then, somewhat. But being able to play together, it got a little hairy there, even with the best connections.
So, guys, do you think you're realistically going to play this game and somewhat frequently? Because for me, at least, Tetris 99, like, it's pretty cool. I'm glad that it's there, and especially that it's free. But this is a game that I can see myself playing once or twice, and then maybe a third time after the servers are shut down and realize that there was a limited amount of time for us to play it. So yeah, do you guys think you're going to play it?
This was the one I said that would be fun to play. I'd probably find out that I suck at it, and then I'd probably put it away. But I would enjoy my time that I could with it. It's a chance to randomize enemies flying at me and getting better at my platforming with Mario, and to on the fly like use power-ups and things. Like I like that idea of challenging and leveling up my Mario platforming game, and keeping that fresh and sharp. And if that's something I can use to train those skills and keep them sharp, then I'm happy for that. And I might play a little more than I thought, especially if it it just kind of catches me in the right place, and I want to just can't put it down.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, for me, I don't really get into these sort of games with like the 100 players, or well, I know this one's only 35, but I like playing games online with friends or people I know or people I've met through the community and things like that. But I just don't really like any game where I go online and get trashed by a bunch of kids or people I don't know. Maybe it's a pride thing. I don't. But and that's it. Like you don't even get a laugh out of it. You don't get a congratulate them. You don't whatever. You don't get to pick on each other. It's just that's it. That's just you suck. Okay. So I just don't get much out of that. And some of these people put hours and hours into it, and that's great. But it's like when you're just trying this stuff out, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not encouraged enough to continue this. This is a pain in the butt. I don't need to go back. I'll just play another Mario game, So I don't know. I'll probably try it a few times, like with Tetris 99 when they have those events. This doesn't sound like it's going to have that to unlock themes just for fun. But it's probably one of those things I'd play a few rounds of, get kind of frustrated, and say, forget it.
Yeah.
I love what Nintendo's doing with their. They're selecting different IPs of their own and cross-pollinating with this Mario stuff. You've got Super Mario Maker 2 that's got that. You've got Splatoon. You've got Smash Brothers that's doing a tournament, which is like Mario-themed characters. Like it's really cool to see them take an IP of theirs and share it across all their other IPs, and have like cameos and things like that. And I'd love to see more of that cross pollination, like, see Metroid pop up randomly in an event in like Mario Kart or something you could play, even if it's a
Exactly.
limited time, like to fly around on Samus's gunship cart or something like that. Like that'd be really cool to see that, and then pop up like have I don't know, Chozo versus the Luminoth or something weird like that. Just something just random, or like who's a fan of Ridley versus Mother Brain or something, and just like to see that for other series, like Zelda as well, like Vati versus Ganondorf, like who's the bigger baddie there, who's your favorite, or something like that'd be really cool to see that representation across all different things. And we saw some of that with Mario Maker, the original Mario Maker, with Amiibo and porting other things into that. That was really cool to be able to have that opportunity. So that's what it kind of reminds me of. It's continuing use of their IPs and other things, and I can't get enough of it. I love it.
Yeah, I think Splatoon is really, really helpful to Nintendo in that way, because it's a brand new franchise and it's very modern, and it requires an online connection. So it has this like endless potential for community integration and these different marketing tactics, and I totally agree with you. I do hope they do it with other Nintendo franchises and really make the Nintendo brand feel that much more alive and more vibrant because of it.
I'm actually surprised they didn't do something like this earlier with Splatoon, because they did that tournament with who was the best Ninja Turtle a while
Yep.
back. Of course, Raph won, because that's who should win. And they also did Patrick versus SpongeBob.
Exactly.
I never saw that
Yep.
coming, and it just like came and went, but it happened. And so I'm just surprised they haven't done more like that with their own franchises.
Yeah, and Transformers too.
Yeah, and Transformers. Yep.
Yeah.
Autobots.
Yep.
Definitely.
I think
They
the
can bring
Animal
back that-
Crossing furniture is really clever too. So I'm definitely looking forward to jumping back into Animal Crossing and getting this Mario
Yeah.
furniture. It's always
I
fun
forgot
when
about
they
that.
have, like in, what was it? New Leaf. With New Leaf, and actually probably even every single version of Animal
All of
Crossing. Yeah, it's one of my favorite aspects of Animal Crossing is the little winks and nods to other Nintendo franchises. So, yeah, if I can get more of that, I will be there day one.
I was glad it was coming. I'm just a little bit disappointed, since all of them came out had that stuff in it before, for Mario, Star Fox, and all kinds of different series. And it's going to be a year after this game released just for Mario to get to it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was a little weird. But
Yeah.
I'm
at
glad
least
that they
coming.
It's coming. Yeah.
I'm glad they announced it when they did, so it didn't cannibalize Paper Mario and didn't overshadow Paper Mario. Like they could have done
Yeah.
that if they announced it too early. But I think Paper Mario has had its time to shine, and people liked it a lot, and so it's not going to eclipse that
Great.
as much.
That's a good point.
And I like, we're finally getting 3D World on the Switch, and it's that another Wii U port we're finally getting, and we're getting bonus content as well. But yeah, I'm excited to finally get into this game. I own it. I haven't played it, and so playing it on the Switch would be a great thing. I promised Kyle Martin that I would do this. I would play this game, and I would give it a fair shake, because he swears it is the best 3D Mario game.
It is
as far as
extremely
representation
good.
of platforming and everything.
Yeah, the level design is immaculate and insanely clever. I remember when this game was announced, I was really disappointed, because I think, like most of us, we were expecting something that was more along the lines of Mario Odyssey, this
Yeah.
grand adventure, especially after we just had Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, these huge, epic, grand adventures, and then we get this, and there's nothing wrong with it, in retrospect. It's just it's just not what we expected. But what is there is extremely well-made level design and controls, really tight controls, and just really wild, out there ideas. it's not as cohesive in a way as like the Galaxy games, where you just feel like you're in this galaxy and you just jump around to these different planets. But with this one, you kind of just go to like different worlds, and they have different random stages, which is fine. But yeah, the design, the level design is just so wild and unlike anything you've seen before, and it plays extremely well.
It
But I am
does.
interested. Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
going to say I am glad to see it back. I mean, we all kind of knew it was coming. I'm very curious to see what that edition thing is. I hope it's more than just like a few like expert levels or something. Um, just like a few hard mode things or something like that. But yeah, I'm glad to see at least some sort of edition. I swear it looked really good on the Wii, but I swear it
Mhm.
looked like it looks a little bit better here already. Again, that was just going off the trailer, but something about it. I did see that the speed is apparently a little faster for those who did play it the Wii version.
Yeah.
Apparently they move about 30% faster, which is a
Awesome.
pretty decent
Mm.
number.
Although I will say I didn't really notice any issues with the speed when I was playing it on the Wii U. So if this makes the experience better, great.
Sure.
I also did notice that they added like extra controls. Like apparently you can dive now. You have like a unique dive, and also the roll is a little bit different as well. So I'm curious to try those out. But something I'm really curious about is how the amiibo works, because I did
Yeah.
pre-order that amiibo the second
They
I
are
could.
not dead. Amiibo are not dead. They're still cranking them out outside of Smash Brothers.
Right.
Keep it going.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope so. But yeah, I love how it looks. That cat Mario amiibo, I love it. It's like my favorite version of Mario. But what does it do, and what games support it? That's what I'm really interested in.
It can be. It'll be interesting to see what amiibo support this has. This game, brings in. I like that they're expanding upon it. They're adding things here and there. I think the biggest thing, though, not a lot of people said anything about it, was just kind of the online, being able to play with friends.
Mhm.
Like that's huge. I can play this with people, and I don't have to worry about like getting my family together in a COVID house, a COVID quarantined house. Like, what are you gonna do? You can't really have friends over to play. So yeah, let's take this. Let's play online together, and I hope that works well. Again, not like Super Mario Maker 2. Hopefully, a lot better than that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there. The game looks pretty. Uh, I hope they really captured that spirit of the original. And we're playing it. It's semi comparable if you're playing in handheld, gamepad or what have you. It's like that. I don't know. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. They probably tweaked a couple of things in it. I'm imagining that there was something the gamepad would do, or some feature or something that they'd have to kind of work around. But I wouldn't know. I haven't played it yet, but I think I might have played it one level to help the rest of my family out. They were playing it together, so.
Yeah, the Switch is different from the gamepad, obviously, because you don't have that extra screen, and you can only touch the screen when you're playing in handheld mode, and also there's not a microphone, which was also incorporated into it. You could blow, and certain I don't know, platforms would spin around or something like that. So that'll be interesting to see how they tackle that.
Do you know how they handled that in the Captain Toad port?
What they did with that one is that there was constantly a little blue dot on the screen, and I think you would just use your, I'm guessing the right analog joystick to move that around, and then I guess you like press A or something, and it'll like interact with that environment. So hopefully they don't do that here. It didn't look like they did. But yeah, something I was always curious about with if this, I always wondered if this game would ever get ported to the Switch, because there are definitely some stages that require you to use the gamepad and use it in the unique ways that it's designed. Like all Mario games, they're designed around the system, and this one's no exception. So it'll be really interesting to see how they tackle that.
Definitely.
Yeah, but the online multiplayer is going to be really awesome. Something that Nintendo's really good at is multiplayer, especially couch co-op. But since we can't do that, I will happily take online co-op. So that'll be really awesome and should make the experience a little more fresh.
Josh, is there anything else you'd like to add about 3D World?
No, not really for 3D World. I will say I was maybe on a selfish note here. I was really hoping for when they went to go add something, it would have been another character, and we would have got like Yoshi or something, because it feels like Yoshi is severely just lacking in this game. This is a good game, but maybe I'm just showing a little bit of bias there. But maybe just we'll see what this expansion pack leads before I say anything else, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe he would break the game or something. I'm sure there was some thought put into why another character wasn't put in, but the 4 or possibly 5 characters that are in the game really do work well in the game.
You know, speaking of Mario Galaxy, no spoilers.
They spoiled that in the trailer already. I was like, well,
really?
They already showed that off. Yeah.
Oh, okay, missed that part.
So, you know, I think bravo Nintendo. You had a much bigger year planned. You missed out on some Mario events at E3. Olympics, you were going to be huge there. You know, having Mario there front and center. Well, not necessarily that, but they had a plan for the Olympics with Mario. I mean, they have Mario Olympics that is now you know, a thing. It's a game, but there is no 2020 Olympics for that. So that's kind of interesting to see that.
It's weird.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to happen going forward? How are they going to, you know, pivot? That was always my question, knowing that they're taking huge losses with COVID and everything. And I think, like, bravo Nintendo for pulling this out and still, like, going all in with all of your marketing, what you're doing with Mario. Their shoes, backpacks, overalls, you know. There is, like, you got your clothing lines, you've got your cereals, you've got, you know, I guess there was a Lunchables ad I just saw that was Mario. And they're trying to spread Mario everywhere. We've got a Mario movie coming out here soon. And the Mario theme park was you know, hampered, like, pushed back. It's kind of in limbo right now. So that's a huge hit. But, like, thank you, Nintendo, for still pushing forward with this and giving us so much Mario goodness. Like, this is how we want to see you treat your IPs. And I know Mario gets special treatment. It's their number one. But I'd love to see, like, just even a fraction of this given to Metroid, you know, or Kirby, or, you know, sorry, Ice Climbers, you have nothing. So,
or Kid Icarus, something.
Which we still need a port of, by the way. Uprising, you know.
Yes. Yeah, no,
Just saying.
Not going to disagree with that, yeah. But, I mean, it is very strategic of them to be doing this as well, because they probably realized that, let's say that they did have some kind of game for Christmas, and I imagine that they did. And maybe there still will be something, I don't know. But let's say this is it. It's very strategic of them to just go all out with this 35th anniversary thing and really make it into this huge event. And there's all these different ways that it can be spoken about by people and talked about online. The 3D All-Stars collection is one excellent way. It's they're just porting some games, but they're well-loved games, and now we'll have this new experience on the Switch. But you mentioned the clothes, you mentioned the Legos, this Mario Kart thing. So, and even the Splatfest. There's some inexpensive ways to them to really drive home this, this way of getting Mario into or keeping Mario in the minds of everyone. And so I am really glad that they are being respectful and celebrating the Mario franchise, but it's also benefiting them during a very unique year.
Yeah, this is them pulling out their number one gun as well against, the big consoles coming out. We've got 2 consoles launching this year, supposedly. And, Nintendo, as it was pointed out on Twitter, Nintendo has the balls to go about releasing a Game & Watch system, against these, big juggernaut next-gen consoles, and I thought that was poetic, even. Nintendo marches to its own drum.
And I'm okay with that.
But I think it's well played. And we finally got some information, guys. We got some more information from Nintendo. Nintendo is alive and doing things.
Mario is all that's left.
But I do hope that there are some more surprises. Some people might think that we might have Zelda, Zelda Skyward Sword HD and perhaps something else for this fall. This was done in typical Nintendo fashion, where It's completely unexpected. I mean, if you don't take into account all the rumors, but this was completely unexpected. We didn't really think it was going to happen. I didn't really. I didn't think Mario Sunshine was going to be on my Switch, especially in a collection. Yeah.
Sounds so crazy.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens over the next few months, and it's you can always count on them to have us on our toes and always wondering what they're going to do next.
All right. Well, I think we have said our piece on this whole Mario Direct. It was awesome talk with you guys, and we will catch you later. You can find us Nintendo Village. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Also on our Facebook at Nintendo NOS, on our Twitter at Nintendo_NOS, on Instagram at Nintendo NOSIN. Shoot us an email at nintendonostalgiain@gmail.com, and you can also give us a call on our hotline, 317-969-5690. Let us know what you thought about this whole awesome Direct. We will catch you later.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.
Later, Preston.
Where Wendy's hid the real coins.